We'll get started with Coach Traylor here. Please use the raise hand function to ask questions and wait for me to call on you. JJ, you want to get us started? JJ, you're on mute.
Yeah, what were your big takeaways from watching film from this past week's game?
Well, you're always excited when you come out there with a win. It's just a lot easier to teach off a win, but there was a lot of things that we could have done better. Offensively, we were pretty much, perfect in the first half, and in the second half, we just spittered and sputtered, and probably got a little conservative and disappointed in that, but also thrilled with how we executed down the stretch with 5:50 left to keep the ball away. Defensively, we caused 3 turnovers, but gave up a lot. They probably had 500 yards. They're a really good offense, but we thought we were a better defense than we showed. I thought we got a little tired on both sides of the ball. The snap counts were up, and I just didn't like the way we finished the game, personally. So special teams-wise, we had 3 huge field goals. We punted the ball very well, but we gave up a return and a kickoff, and that was very disappointing. So there's a lot of things to teach off of. I'm very proud of our kids. We have won 5 games in a row. I do feel like we're getting a little bit loose and maybe smelling ourselves a little too much. And our team took that very well last night. They know when I talk to them about that kind of stuff, where I'm coming from. I'm grateful for what they've done, but we won't continue if we don't clean some things up.
Greg?
Jeff, this might be along those same lines. I was wondering if you saw the North Texas game as another step forward towards playing your best late in the year, or how do you evaluate just the trajectory this team's on right now?
Yeah, in phases, I'd say that's for sure, because you also have to take into the quality of the opponent. That's as good of offense we played against. So you got to factor that in a little bit. But offensively is where I'm just as disappointed that we didn't help our defense. Our defense really bailed us out the whole third quarter. And so we didn't do our part of that offensively. And the kids understand it. They understand it. And now there was a critical third down call that got an OPI that did not help. But, yeah, I would say you can't ever be unhappy when you win on the road against a quality opponent like them. And I'm being probably a little nitpicky, to be honest. I'm acting like you guys a little bit there. But our kids need to hear it right now because they've won 5 in a row, and it's been a while.
We talked a lot early in the season about not forcing turnovers, and now through the conference season, they've come at a pretty high rate. Anything that's been different to spark that, or is it just kind of getting some luck and some bounces going your way?
It's still, you and I have gone around and around about this through the years. It seems to come in phases. I don't know, brother. I wish I could put my finger on it. We work on it all the time. We tip these balls. Why? I don't know. We do those same. We don't do the same drills because we try to keep it fresh. But we're going to do some type of, mirror drill with the offense, the D line, when the quarterback's hand goes up to mirror his hand. And we try to go for the arm. All those kind of drills you work. I punch the ball like Rashad, that's drill work. That's finest, how he calls that fumble. Go watch Kyle Wakefield where he calls his fumble. Go watch Brandon Brown when he calls his fumble. You can see drill work coming alive. But you wouldn't be asking that question like Wakefield's y'all probably didn't even bring up because we didn't get the ball back. Brandon Brown didn't bring it up because we didn't get the ball back. Rashad's we're bringing it up because we get the ball back, right? So sometimes say what you want to, it's just luck. But nobody wants to hear that. But sometimes that is what it is.
All right, Steven.
Hey, Coach. You guys, the 3 running backs all had pretty good afternoons and each scored a touchdown. Is that kind of what you expected from them when you had that idea, or is that kind of what you want to see like going forward?
That's what we've always wanted to do here. We thought we had it going last year. We thought we had it, and we just couldn't keep them healthy. And that's always the deal with running backs. You think you start off with a slew of them, and you end up at the end of the year, you're just holding on. And luckily for us, all 3 of those guys are still rolling. And Frank even had 10 carries Saturday as well. So we had 4 backs with over 10 carries each.
And then looking at the receiving core, you were without McEwen this week, but it's still, maybe not on scoreboard wise, it was still a pretty good day for the receivers. What are your thoughts on them?
Yeah, I thought we should have pushed the ball to them a little bit more than we did. So they were great. Nobody had their lips out. They were all blocking their tails off. And a lot of RPOs in the game. And, they were giving us a live box, and so the ball wasn't coming to them. And I've told y'all since the day I got hired here, what we consider a balanced offense is not what most people consider a balanced offense. We consider a balanced offense. We have the ability to do what is given to us. So if the box is what we want, we have the ability to run the football. If the box is too heavy, we have the ability to throw the football. And I know that sounds some people don't believe like that. Some people are like, we're going to dictate it. We're going to do it. Well, I don't really want to throw the ball into a bad look. I don't want to run the ball into a bad look. We're going to do our best to always give our kids an advantage.
Okay, Steve.
Coach, what are some of your early impressions of watching this year's Rice team and specifically their freshman quarterback, Chase Jenkins?
Well, I think Mike has done an amazing job. For what he's done there, as long as he's done it. And since I've been here, this is his best team I've played against. Starts with this quarterback, JT's unbelievable. And the brother you just mentioned, that dude can roll now. That dude is something. When he pulls it, that's a scary, scary sight. And they've done a good job. Their D-lines are big and thick, and they rotate a lot of kids. Offensive line is big and physical. Their receivers are good. Their running backs run hard. They've had 2 tough losses. They played their tail off against SMU, and they played their tail off against Tulane. Arguably, you could make a statement that you could argue a bunch of plays in each game would have just gone the way. And you're talking about Rice beating Tulane and SMU. They beat Houston early in the year. We could not do that. So statistically, we're pretty much all even on everything. We're right in there together with each other. And I'm really have a lot of respect for what Mike has done there.
JJ.
Jeff, you had any time to think about the 5-game winning streak and what that means to the guys in the program?
It's just we put ourselves in a position where these games in November are really going to matter, and that always makes it more fun. When the weather changes and there's only a few people playing, for the championship left, that's always fun if you're in the hunt.
How do you guys balance, staying motivated? Because you guys have put together a streak in conference I think we're going to look back. That's a pretty difficult feat to win all these conference games.
It is remarkable. I will agree. And it just shows you the players we've had here in the last 4 years and how much they respect conference play and the work they put in and how they continue to get better each game. And there's no magic pill. If there was a magic pill, everybody would do it. There's not. It's just having great players, give them a good plan. And a lot of hard work goes into it. And I'm really happy for my kids. They deserve the success they're having right now. And we just got to keep going. We got to clean up some things that we didn't do as well Saturday. But I know how our kids are. They'll respond correctly this week in practice.
Greg.
Jeff, I know Rashad Wisdom broke the school tackles record this weekend. Did you guys celebrate that milestone, and how did he react to that accomplishment?
We haven't yet. We do the players of the games on Sunday, but we'll make sure and get that up. It's another one of those things we talk about all the time. It's a cool thing about playing in a place that's only been playing football as short a time as we have. You have the ability to climb up in the record books pretty fast here. And that kid, I mentioned it a while ago on a radio show, just this, what Frank Harris and Rashad Wisdom have done for this program, both those kids wearing the 0 for all 4 years, both of them being local legends. I know how much Frank loves shirts, and I know how much Rashad loves Converse. They love the city, and they're about the city, and it's been an unbelievable ride, and I hope our fans really show up. these last 2 home games we have for those kids. And it's not just those 2. There's a lot of those kids on that team that have done a lot for us the last 4 years, and some 5, some even 6.
Please correct me if I'm wrong on this, but the stats that I saw, it was Rashad and Ken played every defensive snap in this game against North Texas. What was your reaction to how they held up and remained impactful through that workload?
Yeah, that's not something we want to do. But it just, with the injuries we had and the packages we had out there, and we had some injuries that showed up late in the week that kind of hindered us a little bit, so we couldn't plan accordingly. And Rashad and Ken kept saying they were fine, and they played that way. They both are. I'm blessed to be their coach, no doubt.
Stephen?
Coach, the win on Saturday was y'all's 5th in a row in the month of November, and y'all are 11-1 since you got here. What is it about this month that seems to bring out y'all's best?
Oh, I know it's a boring answer, but I think our kids like coming to practice. I think they like being around the coaching staff. We enjoy coaching them. We have a great relationship. We like to practice. I don't think it's any more than that. Again, if there was just some magic pill, everybody would take it. And we've got really good players that like playing football, and we've won a ton of close games, man. It's, when you look back at this run for the last 4 years and the amount of one-possession games we've won is pretty remarkable, especially in conference.
And then looking at Rice, it's a series that goes back to the 2nd season of the program, and y'all played almost every year, but then you've had kind of a streak of success against them. So how do you guys kind of battle the fact that, they haven't beaten UTSA in a long time, and they're going to be gunning for y'all?
I don't know how much all that really matters. That was previous teams. Our roster is so different than last year. Our roster is different this year than it started. I don't know that our roster has been yet what we all thought it was going to be. So I think that's great for you guys to talk about, and it's fun stuff for bulletin board material and all that stuff. But, look at their quarterback now, and look at, we thought we were going to have JT, and, all those kind of things that just makes it way different. And we had a couple of injuries with just kid walking down the stairs, not before the game. He's out. I mean, you never know. I mean, we don't know what's going to happen between now and Saturday. It's what's so exciting about all this. And I think that's why college football is so popular, because you're dealing with young men, and just a lot of stuff can happen in a week. And so I know what your question is, but I don't think it has anything to do with this game, particularly Saturday.
Greg?
Jeff, how would you evaluate the play of the offensive line against North Texas?
We were really good most of the game. I thought we got tired. We had a protection where we had 5 blocking 3, and we had an MA and turned the nose guard loose. I mean, that was disappointing. We haven't done that much at all. In this game, we had more MAs than we've had the entire season, probably. I'm not factual on that. And I think the heat and the amount of reps we had, we had 49 snaps in the first half. I know statistically it won't say that because of penalties, but that's how many times the kids were out there playing. And I'm disappointed because, we'd watched them 2 weeks in a row do this. They got behind and they storm you late. And you can only imagine how much we talked about that. And I just didn't have them ready the second half, Greg. And North Texas deserves a lot of credit. And our kids do too, for responding to all of a sudden those tired offensive linemen started blocking their tails off the last 6 minutes of the game. And so I don't know what that is, but we're reminding them of that as we, not today, but last night in our meeting, and we'll start again in the morning.
We saw Payne Hebert start for T. Haynes while he was suspended for the half. What did Payne show you in his opportunity there? Yeah,
he was the one offensive lineman that was player of the game. He got him a triangle of toughness T-shirt. Really, really thrilled for Payne. What he's gone through 2 years in a row with injuries. And I mean, he came out there and played really well. And we will continue to use Payne and probably rest, some of our linemen if our snap count gets that high again.
JJ.
Jeff, a minute ago you mentioned JT Clark you think he'll play for you this season?
I do not. We're getting it looked at one more time this week. And but I would say he will not be out there, and his time will probably be significant of what he misses again. And keep him in your prayers. He's a wonderful, wonderful young man that it's one of those deals. I remember a couple of weeks ago I said, never mistake, a comma for a period. And that's what I've got to really encourage him right now. This is a pause. This is not a stop. And we've got to do everything in our power to make sure we're taking care of that young man and get him back healthy. Is
there anything else for Coach Traylor this morning? Okay, Greg.
Yeah, Jeff, so at that position with Devin McEwen's injury as well, how did you feel like that group held up in this game, given it being a little bit shorthanded with JT out as well?
Well, I'm shocked that y'all knew Rashad and Ken played every snap, but as smart as you guys are, y'all didn't notice that Cephas played every snap. That's hard. You don't want to do that. But we were just running out of people. Amador was also down as well. So we had a couple of receivers out. Really proud of Jace Wilson. He's from Denton. And for him to go in there and make that catch on the glance route, that was exciting to see, a young receiver again. But we were in a lot of 12 personnel because our receiver core was pretty depleted. But, Ty Key struggled for the first time all year. He's a great ball catcher. He'll bounce back. There's no doubt he will. But they held up fine, and they blocked their tails off. And I was proud of them, but depth issues became something there, and we got through it.
It was one of your least productive passing games overall as a team. Do you point to some of the receiver issues, or is that the way North Texas was defending you guys with the light boxes that led to that more than anything?
Both. I would say both those were the factors. Because both receiver injuries happened, late in the week. We thought McCune was going to be good to go, and then late he wasn't. And we thought Amador was going to be good to go, and then late he wasn't. And it's when on Sunday, you can prepare all week, right? When you find out on Friday or Saturday even, that gets a little crazy. So we went with 12 personnel, and we ran the ball a lot because, to your point, that's also what the defense dictated. And as y'all know, we're heavy RPO driven, and Frank takes what's given to him. And I thought he did a good job of being patient in the game. We had a few drops, and we missed a couple throws. So, 13 for 25 for 130-something yards reminded me when I was the JV offensive coordinator back at Jacksonville in the day. That's what our stats used to look like.
Brandon.
Morning, Coach.
Good morning.
Good morning. It was a big day for recruiting for North Texas, and they had a slew of kids out there. So being able to go in there and perform how you did and leave with the victory, does that add anything to it, being able to showcase what your team's able to do in front of recruits when some of those kids might have been at UTSA?
Yeah, I think when people talk about rivalries, I think the in-state games, it's more about recruiting. Now, the fans like it because it's rivalry. I get it. But for a coach, it's the recruiting. So you play Texas State, you play Houston, you play Rice, you play North Texas. To your point, those kids getting to see your brand and how you coach your kids and how I act on the sideline and how we treat our players is a really big deal. The crowd, the fan support. I mean, when you come to the Alamo Dome, that place is rocking. It's a great environment, right? So those are things we really celebrate. It was windy there, right? You could kick it out of the end zone one way and you couldn't kick it out the other way. Well, if you're a kicker or a punter or a quarterback or a receiver, those things matter. So those are things that we bring up. Obviously, those kids, to your point, were there because of North Texas, so we were respectful of that. But we know they're watching too. So when they come to the Alamo Dome, we might just point out what our crowd looks like. And it's 72 degrees and there's no wind, and it's a really cool place to play.
With the high school football playoff starting, are you going to have coaches out there on the road this week, or keeping it in house?
Well, we only have so many days we can get out, and it's amazing how limited that really is. We've been sneaking out a couple of them here and there. Just I don't want too many of them gone because we got a game we got to win. But we're going to meet today on the recruiting schedule for the week, and we will decide like which games to get to. That's always a fine line, to be honest with you, because you want those kids to see you there, and you want to be a presence, but at the same time you got your own kids back at the hotel that you're trying to prepare for a game, and that's always a really fine line. And so we'll meet today and we'll decide where we're all going to be and how many of us are going to get out, because you also want to save some days in December, the bigger those playoff games get, so you can be at the big one. The best thing is when as many of y'all can see me or my coaches there at one time. And so the bigger the game, maybe a double header, maybe a triple header in the Alamo Dome, those kind of things are always good times. Now, where we've been blessed and cursed the last couple of years, we've been hosting conference championship games, and we've been playing throughout December, and it's been hard on us to really get out where everybody can see us. And let me just add this. I know it's pretty elongated answer to a short question. When you're winning like we are, you want to get out. It's fun. The worst part is when you have a month in September like we did. You don't want to get out and have everybody throwing eggs.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Hey, Greg.
Jeff, we saw Zay Frazier make his debut in this game. When you have a player coming back late in the year like this, what's sort of the plan for him, or how do you handle that process?
Man, what a boost that was. You just watch how fresh his legs were. I mean, the way he was covering on special teams, his length, he had a couple of tackles. He's so excited to be back, and really, really thrilled for Zay. He went through a really bad deal, and unfortunate what happened to him, and glad the committee on many appeals from us finally got that one right, in my opinion.
Is there anything more you can share about what the issue was there, or why it took so long to get it resolved?
It was an academic situation of where he did what he was supposed to do, but the rules interpreted incorrectly, in my opinion. And in the end, we finally got our way. It's just a shame he had to miss 8 games before we got it right.
Has he been able to practice with you guys through this time?
He has been. Thank goodness. That's probably what kept his sanity, that we kept him involved.
So do you see him sort of expanding his role through the year as he gets more game reps, or is it just kind of too late to change up what you guys are doing? How do you see that playing out?
No, that's never up to me. That's always up to the player. They earn their playing time. It's a simple rule. Be so good when you're out there, we can't take you off the field. It's not that complicated. I used to tell my children the same thing. They'd come home crying and whining because they got pulled. I'm like, hey, be better. Coaches don't want to lose. They want to win. If you don't want to come off the floor, play better. They'll leave you out there. You're not playing good, they'll put somebody else out there. It's not that complicated.
JJ.
Jeff, do you consider the Roadrunners one of the top G5 teams in the nation?
We play Rice Saturday, and that's a really good football team. And they play Tulane close and SMU close. And I'm not touching that question with a 10-foot pole.
Anything else for Coach this morning? All right. Thanks, everyone.
God bless. Birds up.
Thank you, Jeff.